Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, because it's still afternoon here in Florida. What time is it where you are now? Perhaps you could help us to keep a track of the time where you are. My name is Dervan Malcom. That's DervanMalcolm. And I'm grateful to be in studio with Leo Gilling and starting this weekly feature where we're hoping to make your week strong, in a manner of speaking, because Sunday is the start of the week in this part of the world, and we look forward to sharing with you. It's not a music program. I wouldn't dare try to compete or try to better Leo Gilling's musical prowess. I wouldn't even come close. And so this is talk. This is, yes, a bit of music here and there, ever so often, but it's more to engage people like you. Yes, you and you and you watching and listening. The opportunity to, as one who is based in Jamaica, to keep you abreast. Yes, we do host other programs in Jamaica, as some of you on this platform already know. There's a program I host Monday to Friday, 2 to 5 p.m. Jamaica time, which is both sides of the story on Power 106 FM. And on a Saturday morning, the Jamaican Diaspora live online, also on Power 106 FM. But as you know, social media is heavily populated with people from all over the world, and people who send information on all kinds of things. And people like to put their spin on whatever is happening in the news, whether back home in Jamaica or globally. We're just doing our best to have a space in that general scheme of things, and on that platform to be able to clarify certain things. Maybe someone sent you a disturbing video from Jamaica. Perhaps a relative or friend has given you information relating to the cost of doing business at a particular government office, or maybe a private sector entity. Whatever it is, anything you're not sure of, you want to be certain of, because we want to ensure that we give you accurate, timely and accurate information out of Jamaica, so that if we tell you that it is so, then you know that it is so. If we tell you it is not so, then you know it's not so. If we tell you we don't know, then it means we don't know, and it means we are going to, because of our connections, go straight to the source and get the information for you. And that's the idea. And so we welcome you. Hello to Heather. Thank you for the welcome, Heather, Alan, Kimon, Ariel, Dehanna. Oh, that's a unique spelling. Dehanna. Dehanna. Thank you very much as well. Today is a significant day in the history of Jamaica. And I wonder if you can tell us, is there anybody out there who can tell us the significance of today? Today, the 14th of January. Can anyone out there tell us the significance of today in Jamaica's history? Whether you want to send the information on leogilling.com, or if you want to call in, we'll remind you of that number in just a moment. We want to start there, because another thing we hope to do on a weekly basis is to bring you up to date with Jamaican history, Jamaican culture, Jamaican heritage, Jamaican poetry, Jamaican music. But on this initial program, the idea is to speak with you, to listen to you, and to share with you as we try to to engage you. 954-707-0773. 954-707-0773. I'll repeat, that's a good number for you to call if you wish to participate. 954-707-0773. And we look forward to hearing from you. What is the significance of the 14th of January in Jamaica's history? That's the question right now, and we're anxiously awaiting your response. And we know that invariably you are going to Google and try and find that information. But let's see how that goes in terms of the feedback so far. As you know, we're on Facebook. You can go to the Dervan Malcom Facebook page, post your comments on that page. That's DERVAN MALCOLM. The Twitter handle is at Dervan Malcom. That's the Twitter handle, at Dervan Malcom. And you can also call the number we gave you, 954-707-0773. Your messages can be posted on leogilling.com and all the other platforms. Jamaicans.com. Welcome to those of you on Jamaicans.com as well. Messages popping up. Grace Ringrose says, good evening, Dervan. Welcome. Thank you. Tat Lewis says, hi, Leo. Happy Sunday to you. Do I look like Leo Gilling? I mean, really now. The only thing we perhaps have in common is that we have no hair, or we hardly have any hair left. Right. Albert, right here in Florida. He's in Coconut Creek, Florida. He says, Sir Malcolm, welcome to Florida. Thank you so much. And it has been a joy, actually. We spent some time on Friday. We flew in from Kingston to Fort Lauderdale here in Florida on Friday. Spent some time at the Consulate General of Jamaica on Friday afternoon. And then we headed straight to the airport on to Washington. And within a matter of a couple of hours, we were in Washington, D.C. And within another few hours after that, we were interacting with Jamaicans in Washington, D.C. And yesterday evening, we had the pleasure of attending the fundraiser, the David Wagahunt. Let's get it right. It's the Spencer's Financial Jamaica David Wagahunt Scholarship Fundraiser in Washington, D.C. at the National Education Association. There's a Jamaican by the name of Michael McPherson, who is the Chief Financial Officer of the National Education Association based in Washington, D.C. That is no mean feat. That is no mean feat. We're talking an organization boasting about 3 million people. And a Jamaican, Michael McPherson, is the Chief Financial Officer. Okay, we have a couple of answers. Who gave the answer first? Looks like Albert Lewis in Coconut Creek, Florida, the 1907 earthquake. And that is correct, Albert. That is correct. Other messages coming in. Clarendon Versace. That's an interesting moniker. Patricia, how are you? Garfield in Atlanta, Georgia. In Canada, looks like Carol in Canada. Heather in Toronto. And also we have, Jamaicans.com putting the number out there as well that you can call, 954-707-0773. And someone has taken us to where we would have gone anyway after sharing this bit of history. And that's Yvette. Yvette says, Ian Boyne Homegoing Service. And that would be correct as well for those of you who missed it. It was streamed on the JIS page today. It was also on JNN in Jamaica. And yes, that was a big thing today. But since you have raised it, let's just go there. And the story is coming out of Jamaica. one of the sources of news in Jamaica, Loop News, the story is that the media paid homage to former Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the Jamaica Information Service, JIS, Ian Boyne, with 4 distinguished members, all describing the late journalist as a hard worker who enhanced the profession in Jamaica. At Boyne's funeral service on Sunday, Cliff Hughes, owner of Nationwide News Network, President of the Press Association of Jamaica, Dion Jackson Miller, Chief Executive Officer of the RGR Gleaner Communications Group, Gary Allen, and the Chief Executive Officer of the JIS, Donna Marie Rowe, all gave glowing tributes to Boyne. Hughes described Boyne as a voracious reader who was always in pursuit of getting the competing arguments fairly represented. He said that it is a trait that Boyne had received countless criticisms for, some of which came from him, Hughes, which Boyne never frowned on. According to Hughes, he and Boyne shared a close friendship. He further described Boyne as a decent human being who had fixity of purpose and self-belief, including playing his part in making Jamaica a better place to live, work, and do business. For her part, Dion Jackson Miller said Ian Boyne took preparation seriously, and she joked about the time it took for the pre-interviews for his profile program on television Jamaica to be done. She said that it took twice as long for the pre-interviews than it usually took for the actual taping of the programs. She said Boyne maintained a passion for journalism even after decades and was not afraid to take on many issues and to call out people. She said Boyne did not spare even his media colleagues. And as for Gary Allen, he said Ian Boyne, between profile and religious hard talk, hosted almost 2,000 episodes. He said the RGR Gleaner Group is looking into whether or not this can be recorded in the Guinness Book of Records. He described Boyne as a respected journalist and who was not afraid to ask the tough questions. Allen said Boyne was a rare gem in the Jamaica communications and media industry. Rest well, Ian Boyne, rest well. And if you want to express your comments, share your memories of Ian Boyne, you can do so as well on the heels of his homegoing service. That is, and the number you can call 954-707-0773. That's 954-707-0773. And more people confirming that today, apart from the homegoing service for Ian Boyne, that the date I wanted was, or the event that I wanted them to refer to with respect to the history, was the 1907 earthquake. 1907 earthquake that happened on this day, the 14th of January. Hello, Anisha. Alan, yes, makes reference to the earthquake and the fire as well. Nini says, sending lots of love and blessings from Bronx, New York. And if you have any questions at all about the news that you've been hearing coming out of Jamaica, any clarification that you need, we'll do our best to answer these questions for you. But in the meantime, since you've raised the subject of the earthquake, which is the answer we were looking for anyway, we have more of that information for you. The story is, as far as the earthquake goes, the 1907 earthquake, it was on this day, as we said, the 14th of January, and the information with respect to what actually happened and how it unfolded is quite chilling, some might even say, when you hear how it all unfolded on this day, the 14th of January in 1907. And according to the information that we have researched, and we'll share it with you right now, 3:30 p.m., Monday, January 14, 1907, was a regular day, sunny and hot, with a cloudless sky and a faint breeze. At 3:30 p.m., the city of Kingston was busy enough. All was alive and well. Suddenly, there came the sound of a rushing mighty wind, followed by the sound of a train roaring in a tunnel, and the violent shaking of the earth, so that men and buildings were tossed about like puppets. Screams split the air. Within 10 to 20 seconds, a town of 46,000 was immobilized. Hundreds lay dead or dying, buried beneath mounds of rubble and dust. According to statistics at the time, 1,200 people were killed and 90,000 left homeless. By 3:33 p.m., 3 shocks had been felt, and every building in Kingston sustained some damage. Many in the lower part of the city were destroyed. An account of the 1907 earthquake by W. Ralph Hall Caine. And for the first time since it was erected in 1859, the light of the Plum Point Lighthouse on the Palisadoes Road went out. The fire brigade station and equipment were destroyed by the falling building, and some of the men were killed. Consequently, there was no equipment and not enough trained people to put out the numerous fires which started within 20 minutes of the earthquake. Fires blazed through the streets of Kingston, lasting about 4 days, in many cases finishing off what the earthquake had started. According to Melvin M. Belli, in his 1956 book, Ready for the Plaintiff, the owners of most business properties carried insurance, but only for fire, not earthquake. The premiums on earthquake insurance at the time were prohibitive, and so none of them had earthquake insurance. So if the earthquake came first and started the fires, then no insurance was to be paid. It took one credible witness to prove which came first. He was able to report the essential facts because he had been curious. He had lived on a hill back of the city. He had noticed a pillar of smoke. Out of curiosity, he took measurement of it by triangulation. He had just computed its height at 255 feet. So he testified when the earthquake struck. The fire was said to have been started by a maid upsetting a Bunsen burner in a doctor's King Street office. The fire, causing the smoke, obviously had been first. After a long and hard-fought lawsuit, the jury found in favor of the policyholders, and the insurance companies were forced to pay nearly $1 million at the time in compensation. Which of course added to the city's rebirth. Rampant looting, for those who think the business of looting is new. 1907 earthquake. After the earthquake, there was rampant looting, and armed guards were posted throughout the city. During the earthquake, the mayor and his council of Kingston were meeting at their offices at the corner of Duke Street and Water Lane. The shock destroyed the building, and 3 councillors were thrown through a window into the street. 2 survived, but the third person, the mayor, 68-year-old Charles Tate, died 1 month later. More than 800 people died, and damage was assessed at £2 million. Help was sent from England, the total amount being over £250,000. The imperial government lent Jamaica £800,000 to assist in the rebuilding of Kingston. For those of you just tuning in, my name is Dervan Malcom. This is the Dervan Malcom Show, which promises to be a weekly program where we use the gift of social media, the benefit of platforms like leogilling.com and jamaicans.com to share significant historical information like we're sharing now on the 1907 earthquake in Jamaica, the 14th of January 1907. So it's enriching your knowledge of Jamaican history, Jamaican heritage, Jamaican culture, and also current affairs. We want to be counted in that group of credible broadcasters and journalists across the world who are able to present the news and the facts as they stand, facts that are irrefutable. That's the idea, because we recognize that in social media, everybody is a broadcaster. Everybody is a news reporter. That's the idea. But not everybody has your interest at heart in terms of giving you factual, accurate information. And we hope to play our part in that regard. And so to continue, and then we're anxious to look at some of the messages that have been coming in. And the number to call, as we have been telling you, 954-707-0773. That's a Florida number, 954-707-0773. You can call and we interact. We like that kind of interaction, and we look forward to that. Continuing on the story of the destruction of Kingston by the January 14, 1907 earthquake, owing to the prompt assistance which the colony of Jamaica received from the mother country, there was no starvation. As quickly as possible, normal conditions were restored. An assistance committee, at the head of which at first was Dr. Enos Nuttall. If the name Nuttall rings a bell, it should. His name lives on in Nuttall Hospital in Crossroads, Jamaica. Nuttall Hospital. Dr. Enos Nuttall headed that assistance committee after the January 14th, 1907 earthquake in Jamaica. Dr. Enos Nuttall was Archbishop of the West Indies, the longest-serving chairman of the board of what is now known as the Mico University College. Hello to all the Miconians out there. He did great service in relieving the wants of the people. One very unfortunate incident occurred. An American squadron steamed into Kingston Harbor shortly after the January 14th, 1907 earthquake and offered assistance. The admiral landed armed Marines without the express sanction of the governor, Sir Alexander Swettenham, who asked that the armed men be withdrawn. The Americans were offended, and it was held by the British government that the governor had insulted the admiral. The governor was told to apologize. He did, then tendered his resignation. In spite of the efforts of the colonial office to induce him to withdraw his resignation, he refused to do so, and in the same year retired into private life under Governor Sidney Olivier's guidance. And that's another name you'd be familiar with, Olivier, the Olivier Shield, which is the symbol of schoolboy football supremacy, bears the name of a former governor of Jamaica, Sidney Olivier, who took over the governorship of Jamaica after Governor Swettenham resigned after the January 14, 1907 earthquake. And under Governor Sidney Olivier, and there's also Olivier Road, named in his honor in Jamaica, under Sidney Olivier's guidance, a new city arose on the ruins created by the earthquake. He was responsible for the building of the chief public buildings on King Street in downtown Kingston, and the laying out of the public gardens there, and several new roads. That's the significant bit of history that we thought of sharing with you here on the Dervan Malcom show, which again is an internet platform outside of our other duties elsewhere in media, to occupy this space on social media to help you to understand some of the issues, local, regional, and international, and to clarify any subject matter that you need clarified as far as Jamaica is concerned. Because there are people who have not been back to Jamaica in a very long time, and there are those of us in Jamaica who know exactly what's happening, who try to take advantage of those people who haven't been to Jamaica in a while. So we're here to share. Hello to Beverly. Beverly McPherson says, blessings for a successful 2018. Big up my granddaughter, Digamy McPherson, in Fort Lauderdale from grandparents in St. Mary. Well, happy greetings to Digamy McPherson from your grandparents in St. Mary. Charmaine says, after having listened to the history of the January 14th, 1907 earthquake, said, wow, I didn't know all that. We're happy to share the information. Dehanna Duncan Zerbriggan. I love those names. The names that people shy away from and don't want to call. Just send them to me. Dehanna Duncan Zerbriggan. I hope I got it right, though. Hello, I'm in Canada, she says. It's 5 p.m. Cold. And this snow is unreal, she says. Never mind. We hope we're managing to send you some warmth from Jamaica. In fact, one of my favorite poems is the poem "Nature" by H.D. Carberry, and I find that it sums up Jamaica's weather quite succinctly, and perhaps especially for you listening in and watching all over the world, we could share a bit of that poem with you this afternoon, even as you contend with the cold. And we know what that is like because the conditions in Washington, D.C., as I said, cold. And so we know the feeling. And this is the thing that you'll find with us. We not only come to the diaspora when the weather is great, right? We come to the diaspora when the weather is not so great either. And once again, we want to thank those of you who are monitoring us on Caribbean Yard. Oh, goodness, that must be a nice place to be. Caribbean Yard. Jamaicans.com. Xavier and the team. Listen, Xavier is a visionary. The day he decided to take charge of that domain name, Jamaicans.com, anybody who wants to purchase that name right now will have to fork out some serious money. Leo Gilling Live, of course, we're live on Leo Gilling Live and leogilling.com. Leo Gilling Live and leogilling.com. This man, Leo Gilling, can I tell you something about Leo Gilling? Leo Gilling is, well, I met him initially as this gentleman who was a part of the Jamaica Awareness Association of California, who was asked to show around this Jamaican broadcaster who traveled to California to cover the fundraising spring brunch. And Leo Gilling sowed a lot of seeds in that initial engagement with him, and that has assisted significantly. That laid the foundation for our foray across the diaspora, and we're eternally grateful to Leo Gilling for that. So when Leo Gilling calls, no, after that, how could I say no to Leo Gilling? When Leo Gilling says, hey, you need to come on this platform and join us and do at least an hour, and I know what that means, you know. Eventually he's going to come and he's going to say, well, How about another hour? And another hour, right? But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see, Leo Gilling. We'll see. And we couldn't escape this time because he knows our itinerary very well. I don't know who's feeding him information, but he had this all worked out. So I couldn't say no. I couldn't, because I'm here in Florida anyway. Right. Well done, Leo Gilling. Let's give you a time check right now. How about a global time check? Let's see if we can give you a global time check right now. It's 5:30 in the afternoon in Kingston, Jamaica, 5:30 in New York City, 2:30 in the afternoon in Los Angeles, California, 5:30 p.m. in Toronto, Canada. It's 6:31 now, 6:31 p.m. in Hamilton, Bermuda, 10:31 in the night in London, 6:31 a.m. Monday. So it's already Monday in Beijing, China. And that's the time check for you. But we did promise to share this piece by H.D. Carberry. We have neither summer nor winter, neither autumn nor spring. We have instead the days when the gold sun shines on the lush green cane fields magnificently. The days when the rain beats like bullet on the roofs and there's no sound but the swish of water in the gullies and the trees struggling in the high Jamaica winds. Also, there are the days when leaves fade from off guango trees and the reaped cane fields lie bare and fallow to the sun. But best of all, there are the days when the mango and the logwood blossom, when the bushes are full of the sound of bees and the scent of honey, when the tall grass sways and shivers to the slightest breath of air, when the buttercups have paved the earth with yellow stars, and beauty comes suddenly, and the rains have gone. Right, especially for those of you who are feeling cold right now, we trust H.D. Carberry's nature would have served to warm your heart. Sharon Ariel Rose, how are you? She says, what I want to know is what the people of Jamaica doing about the, and I suspect she's talking about crime, although I'm not seeing the rest of the message, but I wouldn't want to make an assumption. So Sharon, could you resend your message? Sharon, could you resend your message, please? I want to make sure that that's the subject. I don't want to put words into your mouth, Sharon Ariel Rose. Alan says, this is going to be a wonderful program. Great idea. He says, well, Princess greets us. Hi, Princess. Garfield is in Atlanta, Georgia. Cherry Franklin says it's 12:31 p.m. in Hawaii. All right. Aloha to our friends in Hawaii. And Alan says, I remember that poem. Charmaine says, yes, we had to study that in school. I had forgotten about it. Nice to hear it again. Clinton Da Costa, who's right here in Florida, says, good afternoon, Leo and Dervan. Great information. Alan says, and this is Alan Brown, brings back such wonderful childhood memories. Charmaine says, yes, we had to study that in school. I had forgotten about it. Nice to hear it again. Don't want to miss your messages. There's something about people taking the time out to write, because we don't do, well, in a strange kind of way, the social media these days has helped to get more of our people writing. And that is good. That is good. Oh, Albert was confirming that he's watching the program from Grand Cayman, in the airport actually. He's on his way back to Coconut Creek in Florida after having attended the funeral service of a family member. Right. Condolences once again, Albert, and all the best, and all the other messages coming in. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you're just joining us, whether you're on Caribbean Yard, Jamaicans.com, Leo Gilling Live, or leogilling.com. My name is Dervan Malcom, D-E-R-V-A-N-M-A-L-C-O-L-M. Some of you would know me from my other postings on Power 106 FM, 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday on both sides of the story, and Saturday mornings 6 to 9 on the Jamaican Diaspora live online. But as I said, I couldn't say no to Leo Gilling when he said, look, we need you on this platform. Leo Gilling, after all, as we have told you, has been quite a tower of strength as far as our foray into the diaspora is concerned. And we're grateful. And so we had to say yes to Mr. Gilling. And again, this is the platform on which you can expect to see and hear us on a Sunday afternoon, all things being equal. I like to say that because the story of my life these days is that my life is no longer mine, and that my life ceased being mine for some time now. As Bob Marley said, I love to quote Bob. Bob said, my life is not for me alone. If my life is for me, me no want it. My life is for everybody, right? Not verbatim, but along those lines. And it just spoke to the magnanimity of the man for him to have said what he said, recognizing how much he meant to so many people. Who else is online? Hello, Connie Scarlett Notice. She's right here in Florida. She says, Dervan, what you doing there? Well, we're on our way back to Jamaica, Connie. We're on our way back to Jamaica. And because Leo Gilling knew exactly what the flight schedule and arrangements were, he set this up. He set this up. And I couldn't say no because I'm in Florida. And it's not like I had any previous engagement. And so we're on. LeoGilling.com, Caribbean Yard, Jamaicans.com, Leo Gilling Live. Beverly says, hi, Dervan, welcome from Delaware. Hello to you and all the other Jamaicans and friends of Jamaica in Delaware. And that's another thing I like to emphasize when I engage members of the diaspora. We like to remind us that there's a very important category of people called friends of Jamaica. People who, and this is where Jamaicans, we must not underestimate the tremendous respect that people have for Jamaica and Jamaicans. They say some things, and I don't want to start that discussion right now necessarily, but they say some things about some other people in the presence of Jamaicans, and they say, no, you're different. There's a tendency to say that about Jamaicans. We're a special people. There is no question about that. We're a special people. And so people have warmed to us, whether as colleagues at work, as neighbors in our adopted countries, and they contribute to Jamaica by becoming donors, volunteering their time, etc., and they are regarded as friends of Jamaica. We want to salute all the friends of Jamaica who are watching right now. Joan Richardson is in Bermuda. She says, hi there, Sir D. You look so well rested. You were great last evening in D.C. We watched to the very end. Thank you very much, Joan, Lady Joan. Thank you. She's another tower of strength. We have these Jamaicans fanned out across the diaspora who just keep opening doors for us. And she has worked on something for us behind the scenes. But before that, Lady Joan, as I call her, arranged for us to travel to Bermuda and engage members of the Jamaican diaspora in Bermuda. Not once, but twice. I think back-to-back years. And we salute you for that, Joan Richardson in Bermuda. Yvonne Williams says, for real. Charmaine Thomas says, yes, I agree. Connie Scarlett noticed, great. Please call me when you get back to Jamaica, as I have a proposition for you. That sounds exciting. People just drop the speculation right now because notice her name. It's a double-barrel name. Hello. It's Connie Scarlett Notice. So take note of her name. It's Notice. And we're giving you notice not to go off on some frolic of your own in terms of speculating. No, man, it's all business. We're just having fun here. Cherry says, this is Cherry Franklin, Mahalo, or is it Mahalo? Maybe you can help us with the pronunciation of your name. I love to get people's name right, and that has nothing to do with the fact that people get mine wrong all the time. Well, invariably. But I love to get people's name right. So if you want to spell out your name, the pronunciation, phonetically, that's fine with me, because I want to get it right. Right? And that's so Cherry Franklin, please let us know if it's Mahalo or Mahalo. And she says to Leo and yourself for just reminding us what an awesome island Jamaica is. Iselin, or is it Islin? Iselin, maybe, Iselin, Islyn, or Islin O'Connor says, hello, Mr. Malcolm, hello to you too. Anne-Marie Ellis Crawford says, hello from Barbados. Hello to the people of Barbados. Barbados has a population of about 298,000 people, which is less than the population of Portmore in St. Catherine, Jamaica. Portmore's population is 300,000 plus and counting. The municipality of Portmore. Also, Connie Scarlett Notice says, hello, Lynette. Alan says, we are a brand, Dervan. Hashtag Jamaicans. I agree, Alan. Our own a name brand. Glad I'm one of the many. And don't you just feel proud to be Jamaican? But of course, in any population, in any family, we have issues. We have family issues. Sometimes we malice, we dry up with some other member of the family, as we say, or we malice them. Or you know, I mean, I chat to her, I mean, I chat to him, I'm going like say, so and so and so. Yeah, we have that in the Jamaican family as well. But you know something, when push comes to shove, when it really matters, we step up as Jamaicans and we play our part. I mean, I'm taking, for example, last night's fundraiser in Washington, D.C., which I had the pleasure of hosting and covering, and the tremendous outpouring of support from Jamaicans to that event. Extraordinary. We're happy for that. Also online, Lynette says, hello, Connie. Marlene says, hello from New York City. Cherry says, means thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, Cherry, that's not her name. It's not Cherry's name. Mahalo. It means hello. Oh, no, it means thank you. I beg your pardon. So Cherry says, mahalo means thank you in Hawaiian. So mahalo to you too. Maybe you can teach us Hawaiian, how to talk Hawaiian. Because those of you who follow me elsewhere know that I have a proclivity or an affinity or a penchant for languages. And I have a degree in French. Oui, je parle le français. J'étudie le français à l'université. Right, so I speak French and I studied French at university. And I did a reading course in Spanish, but more often than not, people say to me, oh, your Spanish is so good. And I'm saying, well, I did a reading course in Spanish because at school, there was a shortage of foreign language teachers. And whereas I would have loved to have done both Spanish and French simultaneously, the teacher had to split the class. So she said, those for Spanish on this side, those for French on this side. And everybody wanted to do Spanish. I was left standing on the French side, so to speak. And so I did French all the way up and did Spanish, as I said, as a reading course at the University of the West Indies. And I'm now learning Mandarin, yeah, or Chinese, as our teacher. And the word for teacher in Chinese is Lao Shi, Lao Shi, Lao Shi. And what I've learned, and there's a system called Pinyin, P-I-N-Y-I-N, Pinyin. You can Google it, Pinyin. And this is where, because the Chinese don't use the English alphabet, they don't use the letters of the alphabet at all. But for us English speakers, what they did was to create a writing system called Pinyin, P-I-N-Y-I-N, where they would use English letters to produce Chinese sounds. So Lao Shi, for example, which means teacher, L-A-O-S-H-I, Lao Shi. teacher. And the other thing you'll learn, and there are those of you listening to us and watching us, you know this. There are those of you who know this. There are 4 tones that determine the meaning of a word in Chinese. There's the flat tone, the monotone, ba, ba, and then there is ba, ba, asking a question, ba, and there is ba, that goes down and comes back up, ba, and then the 4th tone is ba, goes right down, ba. Now there's an expression in Chinese, when you want to ask a question, you put ma, M-A, at the end of the sentence. So you say, ni hao ma, how are you? Ni hao ma. Now, the first group of Chinese was brought to Jamaica. Group is the subject, that's why I said was. The first group of Chinese was brought to Jamaica in 1854. And if you want to remember when the Indians were brought to Jamaica, the first group of Indians was brought to Jamaica in, I think it was the 10th of May in 1845. So you just switch around the 4 and the 5. So the first group of Indians brought to Jamaica as indentured laborers on the 10th of May in 1845. First group of Indians brought to Jamaica, 1845. First group of Chinese brought to Jamaica, 1854. Switch around the 4 and the 5. So the Indians, 1845, the Chinese, 1854. And they enjoyed a harmonious relationships, right? And why am I raising this? I said to you, asking a question, at the end of the word in Chinese, you put ma. Ni hao ma. Ni hao ma. And I think that's where we get the Jamaican, by virtue of our interactions with the Chinese from way back then. That's where we get the Jamaican expression ma, siya ma, mima, noma. Yeah. That's where I believe firmly, and I'm still researching it, where that Jamaican expression comes from. Ma, mima, siyama. Right. I think that's the Chinese connection. Anyway, some more of your messages. Iceland says, I used to listen to you when I was a child. Oh my goodness, Iceland, don't do that to me. I'm not that old. Am I that old? Iceland says, I used to listen to you when I was a child. I'm listening from New Jersey. Okay, Iceland. Okay, nice to know. Thank you. Alan says, very proud. With all our pros and cons, I would not change being a Jamaican for anything. We join you in that, Alan. We join you in that kind of a commitment. Lynette says, hello, Alan. Just wonderful listening and watching. I also have a proposal for you as well. Oh, Lynette. oh, it's not for me. It's for Alan. Alan, inbox me. Lynette. Okay. And Alan says linguistics. Okay. Hello, Marlene Hines Walker in New York City. We did say hi to her earlier on. I think we did. Great. Thank you. Keep the messages coming in. We're talking about Jamaica. Let's talk about Jamaica. And you know what I love to do? I love to allow people to raise issues rather than first raising issues, unless there's something burning I want to deal with. Why? Because I don't want you to think that I'm coming with an agenda, because my agenda is really your agenda. And your agenda, we're sure, is to get timely and accurate information out of Jamaica. I'm sure that's really what you want. You want timely and accurate information, and you want to feel good about being Jamaican, and you want to engage others. And we have to recognize that whether we like it or not, each of us is an ambassador for Jamaica. We're ambassadors at large, whether we like it or not. And what I find, Jamaicans can't hide, no matter where. There are Jamaicans in all kinds of positions. And I've In the airports, gosh, don't even mention the airports. There's a Jamaican everywhere in the airports, working in the shops in the airport, working as team leaders with TSA, etc. And there are times what I do, I listen, and you hear the person speaking, and there is some expression or some nuance or some timbre, Timbre, that just gives them away, and you know that this person is Jamaican, and they're very helpful. So I met Noel, for example. Where was I now? This was, when was this? This was, what day is today again? With all the traveling. But I was, I think this was right here in Florida. Yes, in Fort Lauderdale. I heard this gentleman issuing instructions. And again, by virtue of the tone, texture, timbre of his voice, I knew he was Jamaican. I said, "You're Jamaican, aren't you?" Yes, his name is Noel. And I was directed, wrongly directed to a particular area. And they're waiting with my checked luggage already paid for. And he says, "Dervan, what are you still doing here?" By the way, he told me that he listens to the program and all of these things. And he says, "Come here, man." Took my bag and I was out of there. Whereas previously they just had me there standing waiting. So you can always count on a Jamaican to just look out for fellow Jamaicans. Alan says, "Dervan, can we discuss the social services or lack thereof for the disabled, elderly, and homeless?" Well, let's go there, Alan. We have in Jamaica, last time I checked, close to 300,000 senior citizens. And we have an aging population, but at the same time we have a young population. Yeah, in Jamaica. In terms of the majority, obviously. And there's a tendency, regrettably, for some of us to not be as respectful, to not be as understanding, to not be as thoughtful as we should be when it comes on to our senior citizens. I love senior citizens, and they know this. They know this. And I sit and I listen, and I take calls all the time because I give out my number on air all the time. And they engage me and they ask questions, etc. We do have programs in Jamaica. The National Insurance Scheme has quite a number of benefits for senior citizens. Of course, there's the pension, and the pension money is never enough, right? It's never enough. In fact, right now, the amount of money that that we contribute to the NIS in Jamaica, it's too small. I think, $50 a week for those who are contributing independently. I mean, really. And then the expectation at retirement is that you're going to get money that can be regarded as a livable income, which is it's just not possible. And so people say we need to increase the amount of money that the pensioners get. But that increase is coming on the backs of those who are now in the system working, which is essentially how it is. But we're going to have a crisis because we still need some kind of pension fund. In fact, from the first day, I learned a long time ago, from the day you get your first paycheck, you should put away something towards some kind of a retirement planning, some kind of retirement plan. It's important. And even with that, the money is still not enough. But you are going to be in a better position than those just waiting out for the government pension or the NIS pension, which is not adequate and will never be adequate. And so another program that the state has in Jamaica for the elderly is the Jamaica Drugs for the Elderly program, JADEP, where senior citizens benefit from heavily discounted costs of prescription drugs, and some of them pretty much free. And there is that as well. So there are programs. There are homes for the indigent in Jamaica. Some of them, yes, need some attention. But the fundamental problem, and I see your original question, Alan, and you ask about the homeless as well. The fundamental problem in Jamaica is that we're not, as a country, earning enough money in order to do the things that we need to do as a country. Taking care of the safety and security of our people, providing a quality education and a quality health system. And because we haven't been earning enough money as a country, we therefore lack the resources, right? We learn in economics that we have limited resources but unlimited wants. Unlimited wants. And so the challenge for any government anywhere in the world, not least of all in Jamaica, is how to effectively manage the limited resources to maximize the public good, the benefits for the public. Alan says, my mom is 92 this year. I cannot imagine not loving, respecting, honoring her forever. And she lives in Spanish Town. Well, she's batting excellently so far, Alan, and as a Jamaican, you would know a thing or two about cricket. 92 not out. That's excellent going. Just tell her now she needs to play in the V in cricketing terms. Play in the V. Just if she has to take a guard again, take the guard so that she knows where her off stump is. So she doesn't go fishing outside the off stump and then get caught in the slips. And so she'll know which deliveries to leave alone, which deliveries to play forward to, the deliveries to play back to, and of course the deliveries to cut and to straight drive. But play in the V. Right. Also coming up online, Joan says, you also sing very well in Chinese, Sir D. Oh, Lord. And that's coming up again. Yes, listeners, I do emceeing duties usually for the Chinese New Year celebrations in Jamaica. And last year, they got me to do something that I'd never done before in my life. To sing in public. Although, in school, I was a part of a choral group in school. And we won, I think we won a silver medal, where we did Jamaican Negro spirituals, folk, yeah, that kind of thing. But outside of that, so I was singing, and not just singing, but singing in Chinese. Pao Mao Liu Liu De Sheng Sheng, and something like that, so on and so forth. And they've asked me again to sing this year. And you know something, like the typical Jamaicans, they don't want me to do one song this year. They want me to do 2 songs this year. Listen, well, we'll see how that works out. Let's see. Thanks for agreeing to be on Leo Gilling's today. We're really enjoying this space. And Iceland says, anywhere I go and I hear a Jamaican talk, I know, of course. Connie Scarlett Notice is saying hi to Evelyn. Oh, our time is almost up. We have to wrap right now. Lady Jones says, yes, I'm so proud to be Jamaican. There's no better nation for people in spite of. Rest in eternal peace, Ian Boyne. Yes, we did pay tribute to Ian Boyne earlier on. Who else? Albert Dervan, will this be a regular show going forward? Seems something is in the making. Well, it's a classic case, Albert, of see the press for details. Or stay tuned. Yeah, stay tuned. Herman says, Leo Gilling really highlighting Jamaica in every way positive. He deserves a medal on Heroes Day. Hear, hear, as they say in the Houses of Parliament in Jamaica. Grace says, I love my birthplace, Jamaica, always, no matter what. Grace says, yes, yes, you're so right. Albert says, do you know the stats on last year's unfortunate murders? I think it's important for our folks and others to know. It would relieve the apprehension amongst us. Well, I'm surprised. I think somebody tried to ask a question about crime, but that didn't come up. But you know how they say in this business, and it is show business, we keep them wanting more, right? We have to leave it here. That's it for today. Leo Gilling, thank you very much for inviting us on this platform, and thanks to all those who have been watching and listening on Caribbean Yard, Jamaicans.com, Leo Gilling Live, and leogilling.com. It's been a pleasure.
It's been nice. Good to have Dervan right here. Oh my God, that was great.